Work trip. Mandatory. Gotta go on the work trip.
Oh God,
Everybody's
I got
going.
a story.
Okay. What do you do? I mean, they're like, let's get drinks, let's go to dinner. Obviously, you're there for work. It's often not mandatory, I guess, but it's expected. And white people tend to get their feelings hurt when you don't want to
Mhm.
engage with them in that way, when you don't want to do those things in that way, write you up, report you, act like
Mhm.
you have a bad attitude, you don't like that's a part of the job. I mean,
Mhm.
share your
Mhm.
story, Tracie, and then that'll tell us what you would do, probably.
So one of these trips, we had to take a trip to. It was like we had to go to West Virginia and then New Orleans, and I was going with an attorney, and there was another male attorney that I was working with, and he was wonderful. Like it's just I've definitely had some experiences with white men that were not that great, but for the most part, it's very much like just get your work done, and that's all they're worried about.
Right.
But we were going to meet up with this law firm that we had been dealing with. They did a lot of outside work for our office because I was working as an in-house paralegal at this job, and this male attorney had told us. He said, "Oh, I told so and so at this firm in New Orleans that we were when we were going." He said, "I told him that you guys were going to be in town." And she said, "Oh, let me know because I'd love to take you guys out to dinner." And the look on this other female attorney's face, she's white. I mean, it was like a micro expression. She visibly looked pissed. And that was something I dealt with a lot because if there was a case or something like that, it wasn't uncommon for, attorneys who were working with the office that did like our discovery and things like that and depositions to invite us out to dinner or drinks. And so my boss would always be like, "Oh yeah, you can come too because you've been doing part of the work." And the female attorneys would always get mad. And I even
Mm-hmm.
overheard one of them at one point make the comment, "Well, she shouldn't come because she's support staff."
Right.
And so it was that kind of attitude. So I could already tell this attorney was ticked off that he had mentioned that we were coming and she had included me in the whole dinner invitation. But I didn't think, I let it go. We get down there, we're driving, and this attorney, like, she wasn't much of a driver. She couldn't read a map. And so I'm like trying to tell her, I said, "Well, I don't mind driving. We can split, the time." And she was just kind of like, "Oh no, I'm going to drive." Like she wanted to be in control of everything. So I thought, okay, fine. So she starts driving, and like after like 30 minutes, she wanted to go to a rest stop. And then she said, I really need to go to the restroom and get some snacks. And I was like, okay. So we stopped 30 minutes in. And then she was like, "Since you'd mentioned you wanted to drive, you can just go ahead." And I thought, here we go. I ended up driving, for the entire trip, which I didn't mind because I wanted to get there. So we make it to New Orleans and we're out to dinner with this attorney, and she brought her colleague. And they were being, friendly, just asking me questions and like, what else did I do at the office? And, it was clear they were just trying to be nice. And she was just perturbed every time they tried to make conversation with me or I would say something. She would like just could not wait for me to stop talking. Then she would just interject or try to like one up anything that I was saying or anything like that. But yeah, it's traveling. No. And then when you come back from the trip, there's always going to be something that they're going to say to the boss about you did something or you said something. They're going to try to insinuate in some way that you acted unprofessional. So it's kind of like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Like you really
Yeah.
can't avoid it, even if you don't go out to drinks with them afterwards. Because there have been times where we have had like dinners where opposing, counsel has taken us out. Excuse me, not opposing, but attorneys have taken us out, and they'll say, "Hey, would you guys like to go to a bar after dinner?" And I'm like, "Thanks, but no thanks. I'm going to go ahead and go home. Y'all can do your thing." And nobody says anything. But I think too, being support staff, I could get away with that. So, but I'm sure it's probably different if you're an attorney. But yeah.
Yeah. It's expected. Abby.
There were two things at the first firm that we were expected to attend every year. One was a CLE conference that was in St. Simon's. That was the most difficult to get out of because you actually do need your CLE, your continuing legal education credits, in order to keep practicing every year. And they would always rent one place for everyone to stay in, like a house or a condo or whatever for everyone to stay in. That's the most uncomfortable
Yeah.
situation. The other one was an annual trip to Lake Lanier. Yes, Lake Lanier. The first year of that event, I tried to get out of it and I just couldn't make it happen. And so what I decided to do instead was I'm just not going to get off the boat, because what they would do is go out on a boat, the boat would park somewhere, and everyone swims and paddles around. I did not want to be in my swimsuit around these people, not even a one piece. And so my idea was I'm just going to stay on the boat. I'm not taking any of my clothes off, and I'll just find ways to still talk to people, because the point is I'm supposed to talk and make friends and develop relationships outside of my a few people that I work for, and get more work and get more clients and blah 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 blah. So that one was, we had our own hotel room for that one, so that's what made it better than the first one, but also uncomfortable. I did complain about it to our one female partner, and she looked at me like I had 3 horns on my head. Like, what are you in my office even talking about? Get out of here. What are you complaining about? Funny enough, that same female partner went on to file a lawsuit against that firm, and she had her attorney contact me to ask if I could testify on her behalf. And I said, don't ever call my phone again.
Damn.
Don't
we're
ever.
always
I asked
using
that woman for help.
Yeah. Yeah. How dare she?
How dare she? But I had heard things that happened to her when she was an associate,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought she would have mercy on me if I went and said, hey, I'm trying to figure out how to navigate this, but she had none. So all the years that I was there, I did participate in these 2 things. I always tried to find little ways of rebelling against all the activities. The first year that I went to the CLE conference, I dressed professionally everywhere that I went. Everyone was in very relaxed clothes. That was really uncomfortable for me because I'm new here. I'm establishing who I am. And it was before my bar results even came out. And I didn't feel like I could be casual the way that everyone else was. But they made a point of repeatedly pointing out that I had on business clothes at every event.
Mm-hmm.
But
did either of you guys get in, like, when you're trying to get out of these events, did it come up later? Because I remember when I first got out of school, I first had my first job, everybody wanted to go drink afterward. I'm not a big drinker, and we don't have the same freedoms as they do, right? So if we do get a little intoxicated or something like that, obviously it's going to be looked at more harshly. Somebody's surely going to tell on us. So I don't know. Did you guys get any kind of reprimanding or kind of talk to about not wanting to participate, team player, all that kind of thing?
I was not reprimanded, but there was an exclusion, a feeling of exclusion. Oh, you don't know the inside jokes. You don't know about this thing that happened. Because what I would do to try to get away sometimes is just zone in on like one client and hang out with that person. Like I'm making that connection bigger, as opposed to try and mingle with the larger group. Or find something else that I'm supposedly interested. I'm playing a card game. I just find some way to look like I'm a part, but not be a part.
Mm-hmm.
So I would miss some of the drama that would happen.